Monster Integration by N1. Chapter 461 Giant Portal. Finally, Master Stage. From childhood I have dreamed about reaching the Master Stage, as one at least needed to be the Master Stage to participate in the League of Heroes. I now had the basic requirement to participate in the League of Heroes, though the Master Stage easily got eliminated in the competition, and my past self also knew that, but for a boy from the small town, it was a big thing to reach the Master Stage. I calmed my heart from the past memories and about to go for the shower, as I am stinking very badly, when I noticed Ashlyn becoming silent. I tried to call her telepathically, but there was no response from her, and that scared the shit out of me. I quickly concentrated and entered my source, and there I saw the same scene I saw when Ashlyn had eaten the blood drop and went into the deep sleep. So, it is happening again, I thought while heaving the sigh of relief but also feeling very happy. In Ashlyn's source, a thin line of blood energy is extended from the blood drop to the Ashlyn source. Like last time, Ashlyn's source is sucking off the energy from the blood drop. I am very happy seeing this, as the last time when this happened, the power of my ability had increased the leaps and bounds, and seeing it is happening again, this time also my fire ability will be advanced by leaps and bounds. Seeing it will take some time, I sat cross-legged and concentrated on the blood drop. There are still 6 hours before I leave my apartment for Central Square, so I definitely have enough time to spend on concentrating on the blood drop. Time passed by, and over time the source of Ashlyn and mine got brighter and brighter while I kept concentration on the blood drop, seeing the blurry images of monster. Once in a while I would get lucky and would able to see some tiny clear sport on the blurry images, which kept giving me some inspiration about my swirling armor. That is not the only benefit I am getting. I am also comprehending from that faint fire rule, which is benefiting me in my comprehension of my sunfire rule. Both of my rule power just steps away from reaching the middle level of the basic stage, especially the sunfire rule. I just need small understanding, which would be able to merge all the scattered understanding I've gained about the sunfire. As soon as I've gained that understanding, my rule will instantly advance to the middle level of basic grade. Time passed, and finally, after more than 2 hours later, Ashlyn's source stopped sucking the energy from the blood drop. This time Ashlyn's source had sucked little more energy than the last time, but still, if both of the time combine, Ashlyn's source barely able such 2% energy from the blood drop. This may sound less, but it is absolutely huge. This blood is from the king stage beast, which supremely powerful. To take the 2% energy from it is a terrifying thing, and I still wonder where did the energy Ashlyn's source suck off go, as I clearly know the energy needed for advancement of fire ability is the only fraction of what Ashlyn's source had sucked away. Well, all that didn't matter. What matter is now my fire ability had become even stronger, and I dare to say there is barely any monster in this continent who have ability strong as Ashlyn. Of course, I am only comparing the power of ability, not transmutation's crystal, who can increase the power of 10, hundreds, even thousands of times. In that department I am far behind the best in the continent. But I am confident if the power of my ability kept increasing at this pace, then it wouldn't be long before my fire ability surpassed them all, even if they have the power of transmutation crystal merged in them. Opening my eyes, I have summoned the fireball in my hand, and I am surprised to find that silver fireballs emitting heat that is higher than I expected. If not for only a few hours till Portal of Ephirian Ruin open, I would have definitely gone to the Sophia's to challenge her for the spar. I am confident that now my power isn't less than Sophia. I have to keep advancing quickly, otherwise the twins would leave me in the dust again. The reward they have received is increasing their power every day. If I dare to relax, then they will leave me dust, and it would become very hard to catch up to them, much less surpass them. That is why I will have to keep advancing. Calling the fire back, I got up and directly went to the shower and slept after I came out of the shower. The body cleansing exercise and leveling up had made me quite tired mentally, that even after leveling up I felt slightly tired. It would have been if I had not slept, but I want to be at my 100% when I enter the Ephirian Ruin, both physically and mentally. Ting ting. The alarm had awoken me 2 hours later. After waking up I freshened up and started to double-check everything again. Traying. Time passed and the time of leaving came. I was about to get out of my apartment when I had received the message from Sophia saying she is waiting outside. When I get out of my apartment, I found 4 of my teammates waiting outside my apartment building, each of them wearing their best artifacts with the excitement and nervousness on their faces. Except for my red sword, everything I am wearing is completely new. I had spent quite a fortune to buy all this stuff. Michelle, you level up. Sophia said in surprise. A smiling surprise could also be seen in the face of Reina as well. Their surprise is understandable, as in just 1 month, I went from the initial stage to sergeant stage to the initial level of the master stage, a whole stage which is considered fast speed even amongst the talented. I am just lucky. I said with a light smile. Let's go quickly, otherwise, all the good spots would be taken. Sophia hurried as she took off to the air. We all followed behind her. The hover car would be faster in normal times, but today flying in the air is faster. As long as flying above the range of hover car there is no traffic. With us running across the air at our full speed, we were able to reach the central square in just half an hour, and the first thing we saw there was portal. A gigantic portal is constructed in the center of Central Square. It is very huge, so huge that 1,000 people easily passed through it at a time. Surrounding the portal is a huge crowd. There must be more than 500,000 people there, and each minute's thousands are coming, filling the Central Square even. Let's go find the place, Sophia said, and we started to find the place to land. Chapter 462 Ephorian Ruin. I. Sophia, Michael. We were just searching for the spot to land when we heard a familiar voice calling us from below. When I looked up I found it as Emma. Let's go there, said Sophia as she started to land toward Emma. A few seconds later we all landed on the ground beside Emma. As we landed, Emma had introduced us to her friends. There are 6 people including Richie, and they all have varied battle powers, but all of them are strong. Not one of them is weaker than Rachel and Leo. Emma has gotten quite strong. She is as strong as twins and me. I had thought with all the rapid improvement I had made in these 2 weeks, especially the morning where I had not only leveled up but also made progress body cleansing technique, supreme combat exercise, and my fire ability, but the reality is harsh. Currently, I did not possess the power to defeat Emma. She and I have near equal battle power. As for Richie, he had also improved but not much. I can defeat him within a minute. The portal will get activated in 10 minutes. Only those with the homing band will able to pass through the portal. Those who don't have the homing, please don't try to enter the portal. You will be repulsed and punished thereafter, said the middle-aged man who is standing in front of the portal. The honing band he referring is while runic band I have in my right hand. It is honing and extracting device. There will no portal in time of return like one in a central square right now. The band I am wearing will be the device that will let me return home. This band may seem simple, but it had cost me freaking 50,000 mana crystals. This is a huge sum for rookies. It was a good thing that the harvest had been quite well, otherwise I would have had to take the loan from either guild or adventurer's paradise like the rest of the people here. But with paying for this honing bang and buying all the stuff for Ephorian Ruin including night grade totem artifact I am wearing, I have nearly become empty. In this 1 month, I had accumulated around 70,000 mana crystals, but now I have only 3,000 something mana crystal left with me. It looks like I will have to collect all the grim monster bodies that I kill or saw. The ruin is different from our world. It is just cut off part of the plane which doesn't have a basic conscience and means it will not help us harvest the mana crystals from the grim race monsters. That is why I had brought so many storage artifacts, so that I could store all the bodies of the grim race monster and harvest them after returning home. Zoom zoom. 10 minutes passed quickly and the portal that had been silent had started to light up. The ruins that had been carved on it had become very represented. The portal kept glowing for minuet became the watery spatial layer had formed in it. The portal to the Ephorian Ruin is ready. I wish you all have safe adventures and return with great fortune, said the middle-aged man as flew away from the center of the portal. Just as he moved away, people started to run toward the portal. Some ran toward it while others flew into it. Every minute thousands of people would enter the portal. We did not move immediately as the portal was too crowded for. First 10 minutes. Best of luck to you all, I said as we started to run toward the portal. As I run toward it, fire had appeared on my hands and legs and soon it covered them fully. After the fire had covered my hands and feet fully, small and big swirls started to form on them. There are 12 big swirls, 3 on my every limb, and around the big swirls are the smaller swirls. The swirling armor of mine looked a little different than what it looked like a week ago. Now not only fire had fully covered my arms and legs, but there are also big swirls amidst small swirls. The fire had able to fully covered my limbs due to level up in the morning. As for the 12 big swirls, they are the inspiration I took from the fight I had with the strong 1-star hyenaman. The bigger swirls are more stable than the smaller swirls, and when they surrounded by the countless smaller swirls they form the network, which helps in stabilizing whole swirling armor. It does not only make it stabler but also a big help in concentrating fire also, and that is why my armor had become 1.3-inch dense from 1.5 inches, which had made my swirling armor more powerful, and that was the result when I was using only 4 big swirls. This is my first time using 12 big swirls across my armor, and they are concentrated at the 1.5. I could make them more concentrated, but I did not, as it could destabilize the armor. The reason I had summoned my swirling armor because after going through the armor, I could very well end up in the monster mouth or amidst the grim race monster. So I have to be ready. That is why I had summoned my swirling armor and used 12 swirls top of that to be ready for any danger I've come across after I passed through the portal. Except for my team, others looked surprised seeing me half covered in weird fire armor. Even twins took a double look at my armor, probably sensing the advancement in my fire ability. Let's hope we will meet inside the ruin, Michael, Sophia, before taking a step inside the portal. Yes, let's meet inside. After entering the portal, one could end up anywhere in the ruin. There is no fixed position where one will end up. That is why a large number of deaths occurred in the first few hours of entering the ruin. I took a step inside the portal, and the next moment, I found everything dark in front of me. Not a speck of light could be seen. This darkness is quite terrifying, but I did not do anything. Hell, I did not even dare to twitch. From what I have read, I am currently in the spatial tunnel made by the portal. It is very delicate, and we are cautioned that we move as little as possible when we are tunnel, as any large movement could throw us off the course. If lucky, one could end up anywhere in the world, and if unlucky, then one could very well end up space, and which is death. Thud. Suddenly I found light appears in front of me, and I found myself crashing on the dirt. Roar? I heard the confusing roar, so when I looked up I saw 2 lieutenant stage monsters of about 15 meters tall is looking at me confusingly. Looking at wounds on their body and position they are in, these 2 monsters were in a very fierce fight, but my sudden appearance seemed to have disturbed their fight. Chapter 463, Epherian Ruin 2. You guys continue, I will go my way, I said as slowly started to get up from the small pit I have made, but quickly got shocked by the gravity I am feeling. I have read that Epherian Ruin has the 3 times more gravity than that of the normal, but I have not taken it seriously, but now that I am experiencing, I come to understand how terrifying it will be. The temperature room I had also have gravity function which could provide 5 times more gravity than normal, and I have also trained in it a few times, but that was just training for an hour or 2. But the Epherian Ruin had natural gravity that is 10 times than a normal, and I will be spending a total 58 days in this terrifying gravity. No wonder it is said that just the trip to the Epherian Ruin worth it. One will get benefits just spending time in it, and me now totally angrily with it. Roar. Roar. I had just barely stood up when 2 monsters roared simultaneously and leaped at me. Fuck. I cursed seeing that. These 2 monsters are at the early stages of the lieutenant stage, but the battle power I am sensing from them is comparing them to the 1-star elite of the race. Zup. It's good thing that my swirling armor is still on, and quickly dodged their leap with the help of my swirling armor. Fuck gravity. I cursed as I nearly fell while dodging the monster attack. I have never fought in the gravity. I spared a little wearing the pressure suits when I was in the West Blood, but that is completely different, as here I am fighting for my life in completely foreign environment. Roar roar. They roared again and came at me, and this time again I dodged. Seeing these 2 monsters have similar battle power as me, I had decided against attacking them before I could get familiar with this gravity. While I kept dodging their attacks, I started to observe the monsters as well as the surrounding I am in. The 2 that are attacking are rhino monsters. Both of them had dark brown skin and the golden horn. There was no mention of this type of rhino monster in the documents of the Epherian Ruin. It's not that surprising that the document did not have the mention of them, as the more than half of the Epherian Ruin is still a mystery. I first thought I had transported in the forest, but after the careful look, I found the traces of building here there, though they very little, it still made me really happy. The target of Ephirian Ruin is to find the buildings, as only in the buildings one will find the treasure. The document even has a special name for them, which is treasured palaces. Not all buildings are in ruins, many of them are completely preserved with the runic restrictions. This ruin is left behind by the powerhouse, and that powerhouse had left many things across the ruin. As long as one lucky enough and passed the test, if it had, then one could even gain the destiny-changing windfall. The fight continued as the monsters kept coming at me, crushing whatever that came in their way, be it boulders, trees, or something else. Time passed and soon it is 20 minutes since I entered the Ephirian Ruin, and I finally got used to the gravity enough to attack the monsters. Roar! Roar! It's time to attack, I said and jumped. The monsters roared, seeing me jumping at them, as the golden horns of theirs started to shine brightly. Both of the rhinos also took the jump to match the height of my jump, but just as they about to their horns about crash into me, I casually took another jump with my skywalking skill. Bang! Horns of the monster clashed against each other, creating bright sparks as they fell down. My chance, I said, and simply fell down while enveloping my sword with both of my rule power and fire. Slice! Just as the rhinos landed on the ground and started to stabilize themselves, I landed on the neck of the one rhino and simply slashed at its neck with all my power. Its neck was hard like air, but my sword still able to tear through it like a hot knife in the butter and able to cut the quite big chunk out of the monster's neck. Roar! Slice! It roared loudly and swung its neck, but that time I had already disappeared from its neck and used their exact move against the next rhino. The attack injured them quite heavily, but it will not able to kill them. These monsters have terrifying vitality, and if I had not transmitted my rule power into their wounds, then it wouldn't have taken even minutes to heal it. Roar, roar, rare! The two monsters went berserk after receiving the injuries and came out with the full fury. Slice! Slice! Dodging their fury's attacks, I replied with mine. Their big size gives their vitality and power, but it also makes less flexible. For someone like me who majored in swift combat, they are like the living target. Every move of mine will open a new stream of blood from the monster. Mostly I target necks, but sometimes I also target legs to reduce their mobility. Poochie! Seeing the monster getting weakened due to excess blood loss, I took the risk and pierced the eye of the monster, killing it directly without any resistance. Roar! The other monster roared, seeing that, and started to the runway, but it was not able to go a far way before it collapsed on its in weakness. After that it only took me a minute to kill them. Choo-choo! Ashlyn came out of me as she came out me just as the fight is finished, and I had expected her to fall down due to a sudden increase in the gravity, but to my utter surprise, she flew she normally do. Choo-choo-choo-choo! She started to chirp excitedly, looking at the dead monster, saying she will finally going to eat the fresh meat today. Since there are no monsters in the grim battlefield, all the monster meat came from outside, and which is at least a week old. Yes, fresh meat, I said as I removed it horn, core, and some meat while left everything as it is. The monster is quite weak in this ruin standard, so there is no need to store in the storage, as I will need that space to store the parts of strong monsters in the future. After cleaning the monster, I walk away from the battlefield. The first time I have to do is find out where I am. I hope I am explored part of ruin, not an unexplored one. I picked the general direction as I looked at topography, hoping to find something which would tell me where I am. Choo-choo-choo-choo! Suddenly Ashlyn came flying and directly entered inside while telling me about the very terrifying danger she had sensed near us, which fucking scared the shit out of me, as I have never seen Ashlyn this scared before. Chapter 464, The Palace of Ionic Blessing. Without wasting any time, I removed the swirling armor and the sunfire rule and completely covered myself with the killing energy of the killing rule. After I had done that, I found the thick shrubs and bushes around me and hit myself between them. Let's hope this cover of killing energy will stop whatever terrifying danger that coming toward us. Killing energy of killing rule had many uses, and one of them is stealth. As long as I do not make any sound, the killing energy will stop any of my vital leakings. It acts like invisibility cloak against the senses. If the energy power is not much stronger than me, then it will be very difficult for the enemy to find me if the enemy is totally dependent on his soul sense. But the enemy that is coming toward us seemed to be very strong, otherwise, she would not have behaved this terrified. I controlled my breathing as much as possible and waited. The excruciating seconds passed as I lay in bushes with fear on my face and heart, hoping that danger would not come to my way, but I am not that lucky, as 3 minutes later, I heard the faint sound of steps. Time passed by and the sound of steps getting faster and faster, till finally 2 minutes later I was able to silhouette the enemy from the bushes. It is about 10 meters ahead of me, and from what I can see, it is a grim race monster of the frogman tribe. As for specific tribe, I wasn't able to tell, as the grey skin it has is common amongst the frogman tribe. There are frogmen were rarely seen on the dry land like this. They are usually found where water is abundant, like lakes, river, or marshlands. This frogman looked quite carefree, without the care for the world, as it's singing some weird melody in the language that is unknown to me. It was just walking when it suddenly, seeing that my heart skipped a beat and I stopped breathing, fearing it will notify me if I make even the slightest noise. It stayed still for a moment before a long cleaver magically appears its hand, and it slashed up, and soon a hand-sized snake is split into two, but my eyes not on the snake or the huge cleaver on the snakeman's hand, but on its forehead. Fuck. It's no wonder Ashlyn was so scared earlier. Only 3-star elite as this could make her scared so much. Earlier, when it moved to kill the snake, I was able to see the 3-star on its forehead. 3-star elite are insanely powerful. I have seen it with my own eyes. The fight of team leader and that leader of the Violet Ape Man is still very clear in my eyes. After killing the snake, its tongue swept up the 2 parts of it. The frogman started to walk with the casual gait. With it being 3-star elite, a very few things could pose a threat to it. As long as it did not take any big risk, it could easily survive this ruin. A minute later, it had disappeared from my view, but I still did not move from my spot. I stayed on my spot for nearly an hour before I dared to come out of the bushes. I stood no chance against the 3-star elite. Hell, even 2-star elite could easily kill me with a swing of his sword. This is the reality of ruin. A bit of slight bad luck would make one lose one life. If I had been noticed by that 3-star frogman elite, it could have easily spit me into as the snake and swept me with its tongue to be eaten. After coming out bushes, I decided to walk in the opposite direction of what that frogman left. I want to put as much as the distance I could between us. This time, while walking through the forest, I am a lot more cautious. I walk stealthily while killing energy fully covering my body. I also let Ashlyn go ahead as a scout. Like me, she also had the killing rule, and being a monster, her senses is a lot stronger. With the addition of killing rule, she is the perfect scout. I am not walking in the forest aimlessly. I am following the marks of the buildings that are spread around the forest, and if I am not wrong, then thousands of years ago, this place used to be a city. Though now only slight traces of it had left, it is enough. If I am lucky, then I may even able to find the treasured palace in this place. The chances of it are low, but there are still some chances of finding it. The one thing that had me very sad is that no matter how much I tried to find, I couldn't able to find anything that could able to tell me where I am. I have studied the intel of the Ephirian ruin quite extensive in the whole month. As long as I find something, I am confident I will be able to identify where I am from with the help of it. While walking in the forest, I've come across a monster, a grim race monster, and 2 fellow humans. Most of the time I would hide and only attack when I get attacked. After that 3-star frogman elite, I have not come across any 3-star elite, but I have come across beings who were powerful enough to kill me in the single slash. One of them was the human, while other was the grim race monster. The human simply walked by me. As for the grim race monster, from which I had hidden, it was a good thing that Ashlyn had notified me first, otherwise I would have been finished by it. I have arrived in this ruin in the late morning. Now 4 hours later it is afternoon, and in these 4 hours, I wasn't able to find anything interesting other than the barely discernible ruins of the city. I know 4 hours are not enough to find something interesting. People even spend days, even weeks to find even small changes. It still made quite sad. If it had been a grim battlefield, in the 4 hours I would have easily harvested 1 to 2,000 mana crystal by now. I was just walking with a little sad mood when I heard the faint sound of fighting, and without waiting, I swiftly started to walk toward it. This fight is not between two people but between the group of people, and from the sound of I am hearing, these people surely are the Grimm race and fellow humans. My God. I said as I got here is a near fight. There are 4 humans and 6 Grimm race monsters are fighting, but that is not what made me take the god's name. I took the god's name because behind the people stood toward, the tower looked worn out but its condition is very good, and as the ruins could be seen flashing on it now and then. Treasured Palace. I didn't think I would come across the treasured palace just a few hours after entering the ruin. Chapter 465 The Palace of Ionic Blasting 2. Note, I've changed the title of the previous chapter. Ahead of the treasured palace, a group of humans and Grimm race monsters is fighting. Of 6 Grimm race monsters, 5 of them are 1-star elites at Major and Brigadier stage. As for the 6th one, it has a mediocre strength. I could easily slay it with the slash of my sword. The interesting things are their 6 Grimm race monsters are that of a different tribe. Normally the Grimm race of different won't work together, they even hostile to each other. They only work together when there is an order from up. In the Grimm battlefield I've only seen the Grimm monster of the different tribe worked together only one time. But it is different when Grimm monsters enter the ruins. They forget their hostilities for the time being in ruins and work together to kill as much as humans possible. The human side is clearly being suppressed. If it's not for the leader of the human is keeping the leader of the Grimm race monster occupied, the 3 humans behind him would have already been dead. Their condition didn't look good. All of them have some injuries on their bodies, especially the leader who is fighting the leader of the Grimm race monster. If the fights kept going on this pace, then before the 20 minutes, all 4 of them would be dead by the Grimm monster's hands. I wore a mask and walked out of hiding. They saw me soon after as I did not try to conceal any of my movements. Seeing me coming, as frown emerged appeared on the Grimm monster's face and smile on the humans. Friday. The leader of the human was about to say something when one Grimm monster left the group fight and came to attack me with a vicious expression. The fellow humans wanted to come to help me but they were held down by the Grimm monsters. Brat, you should not have come to interfere, now you can die and be our afternoon snack, said attacking Ratman with its squeaky voice. I wanted to laugh hearing this Ratman. If it had been other 5 Grimm race monster, I would have been held down, but this Ratman is not even a 1-star elite and it wanted to kill me. It's really laughable. Seeing its 2 small swords coming toward me, I simply moved a dodging both of its swords and slashed my sword at it. Slice. Thud. Its head flew away from the rest of its body and fell on the ground. The fallen head had an expression of utter shock at the moment before dying. The fight between the 2 groups come to end with the death of the 1 Grimm race monsters, and now the strength of 2 groups had become similar to each other. Friend, it's good you have to appear. With you being with us, these Grimm race monsters won't able to stop us from entering the tower, said the leader. Of the 4 humans, there are 2 women and 2 men. They all have seemed about my age. 3 of them are from the B-class guild and 1 is from the A-class guild, who also became the de facto leader. I know their guilds because of the guild badge they have on their chest, just like I have badge of the Raging Thunder on my chest. No matter what class of guild they have, they will have always wear their guild badge on their chest with pride. There is no meaning in the fighting. How about this, we will hold the truce till we explore the Tord. If we waste our time fighting, other stronger people may see this tower and come, said the leader of the Grimm race monster as he proposed a truce. What do you guys think? Asked the Grimm monster leader. We all looked at each other before nodding. We all clearly know that once someone stronger came, we will not have a chance to explore the tower, and by bad luck, if it was the Grimm race monster, then it would be the death of us. So, it is in our best interest to accept the truce that the Grimm race monster had proposed. As for how true its promise of a truce is, not even my innocent sister would dare to believe it even for a second. As long they find one of us alone, they will kill us without any hesitance, and we will do the same with them. Give them 5 minutes to heal their injuries, I said, just as Grimm monsters started to walk toward the tower. The Grimm monster about to object, but the leader stopped them before they could utter the words. Drink your potions quickly, I said to 4 people behind me, then nodded at me gratefully as they quickly started to drown the bottles of potions. Let's go, said the leader of the Grimm race monster. Exact 5 minutes later, 5 minuets were enough for them to heal their injuries and get to their best form. We all started to walk toward the gate of the tower while keeping the safe distance between us. On the way, I come to know the names of the 4 my new teammates. The one acting as a leader is Sam, the 2 girls are names Molly and Liz, and the last young man is name is Carter, and 5 of yous are from the different outposts. A few minuets later, we stood in front of the brown gate of the tower. Except for layer dirt and some other things, the gate of the tower seemed fine as the glowing ruins could be seen flashing on it. "Shall we?" said Sam to the Tiger Man, who was leader of the Grim Monsters. The Tiger Man nodded. Next moment Sam and Tiger Man placed their palms on the tower door and started to push. Carer. First, nothing happened, but a few seconds later, the runes started to flow into the hands of Sam and the Tiger Man. Soon the runes slowly spread throughout the body of the Grim Race Monster and Sam before the door started to open with the creak. This is a common procedure in the Ephirian ruin. This ruin is left behind by the powerhouse for us, and as long the runic restrictions working properly, the door of the palaces would be opened as long as any intelligent race touched them. The door started to open slowly, and within a minute it had opened enough fully, and all of us entered through our side, always vigilant. What appeared in front of us is a big hall with 6 doors, and above the doors some words flashing in the unknown language. The first thing we all did, including the Grim Race Monster, is to activate our honing band and started to scan the text of unknown language. This unknown language is Akkadian. It had been deciphered, so we just have to scan the texts with our honing bands and it will be translated. The Palace of Ionic Blessing. Olive screamed top of our lungs. Both humans and Grim Monsters have a very excited smile on their faces seeing this. Chapter 466, The Palace of Ionic Blessing 3. Fuck, I lucky. I thought ecstatically. I have never thought I would be lucky enough to come across the Palace of Ionic Blessing. This is a huge thing. The one thing those who came to Ephirian Ruin most desires after the materials for the totem artifact is Ionic Blessing. Ionic Blessing can directly increase one's strength substantially. Even the lowest grade of Ionic Blessing could be compared to the enhancement one get from one amethyst seal of the Supreme Combat Exercise. The Palace of Ionic Blessing came in 3 grades from grade 1 to grade 3. Grade 3 is lowest while grade 1 is the highest grade. Grade 3 Ionic Blessing increase gives the enhancements comparable to the 1 amethyst seal. Grade 2 Ionic Blessing gives the enhancements comparable to the 3 amethyst seals, and Grade 1 Ionic Blessing gives comparable to 5 amethyst seal. These enhancements are huge. I know how much effort it took to make 1 amethyst seal, and now I could gain it as long as pass the test that tower has. The only regret that this tower is only grade 3 Palace of Ionic Blessing, but I am fine with it as it will be giving me the strength I would normally get after months even year of painful circulation of the Supreme Combat Exercise. There are 6 doors, that mean there are only 6 Ionic Blessing in the tower, and I plan to get to them, 1 for me and 1 for Ashlyn. There is no restriction on how many people enter the door, but the blessing only goes get by only 6 people. I have read quite detailedly about the Palace of Ionic Blessings and knew that real blood would be shed when we reach the blessing altar, so I will have to be first to clear the tests and enter the altar room. Only then I could kill any grim monster or human who came in my way of getting 2 altars. The vigilance and killing intent are heart sour as looked at each other, but no one dared to lift their weapons. Shall we? I asked the leader of the Grim Race Monster. In the 5 Grim Race Monster it is the only leader I am a little fearful of. As for the other 4 I am not afraid of them even if 4 of them came at me together. Seeing me motioning toward the door, it nodded, started to walk toward the doors with me. I chose first door on the left while it chooses first on the right. After reaching the door, we stood in front of it for a second before taking the step inside the doors together. As for that or those behind us, they will be fine even if the fight broke out. The only one who could have made the difference is the leader, and now that he had taken the step inside the door with me, they will also enter soon after. I found myself in a different place when I entered through the gate. There is a stretch of about 300 meters ahead of me before I could see the other door, just like the one I had entered. From the intel I've read, there are usually 2 or 3 tests one has passed before I will be transported to the Hall of Altars. I scanned the words that were floating in front of me with the honing band and come to know what test is. The test of obstacles. The test is very simple. I just have to cross this distance of the 300 meters while surviving from the obstacle that came in my way, and I had to clear it all within the 10 minuets. If I exceed the 10 minuets I will be thrown out of my tower. There is one more thing, that the test will not stop if I had received the heavy injury or my life is in the danger. The test will only stop after 10 minuets. After taking a deep breath I walked forward. There is no time to waste if I am not fast enough. That the leader of the grim monster could very well finish before me, and that is not good for me. While walking I activated my Sunfire rule and Killing rule and covered myself with my swirling armor. I will use my all in this test without holding anything back. Tong. Sup sup. Tong sounded just as I took the step inside the stretch, and before I knew it, I found 2 sharp energy projectile coming toward me. Kacha kacha. I swing my sword at them, broke the 2 energy projectile while not stopping even for a bit. Sup 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 sup. The next second 4 projectiles came. I calmly dealt with them swiftly with my sword. I am very lucky to have comprehended the Killing rule, which had to make my senses stronger and my reaction time faster. It is perfect rule for this test. In less than a minuet, I had crossed 100 meters and was taking the next step when I sensed extremely faint sensation from the ground. Without wasting a moment I took the jump in second while defending the projectile coming from the air. Thorns. It's good thing I took the jump, otherwise the legs of mine would have pierced by those needle-thin thorns that came out of the ground. These needles looked very sharp, and think that I am sure they will even able to pierce the artifacts I am wearing. After landing, I just stood on the ground for a second before jumping again as I sensed the thorns again. I kept moving forward by dodging and jumping, and it took me just half a minute to cover another 100 meters. Zurzurzax. Now only 100 meters have remained. I thought as I took the step, and next second, I found 6 energy discs coming toward me, and they are at least 3 times faster than the energy projectiles earlier, and that was not enough. I even felt staking under me. Looks like I will have to use the shield. I thought a small shield materialized an instant. Kacha kacha. I took a jump with having a shield and sword in both of my hands as I defended myself from them. Not even energy disc able to touch me, but that was just the starting, as from the next second, the numbers of energy discs started gets higher and higher, that 3 times I barely able save myself from the get cut mine by them. If that was not enough, the height of thorns also increased, that they reached whopping 1 meter. If anyone got pierced by them, he will surely get seriously injured, even death won't be out of the question. Especially for the humans, as we did not have the terrifying vitality as grim race monsters. Thud. Finally, I said with a relieved sigh as I landed in front of the gate, in this test I've not received even small scratch if one doesn't count the few threads of my shirt cut by the energy discs, and it's all because of the Killing rule. I am very sure that others would turn completely bloody when passing this test. Chapter 467, The Palace of Ionic Blessing 4. I hope others will be alright. The grim monsters would be fine with their terrifying vitality, but humans don't have. We mostly rely on the potions to heal our injuries quickly, but we can't use potion during the challenge. Of the 2 groups, humans will be very hard pressed against this test than the grim race monsters. Well, there is no time thinking about them. I have to think about myself. The sooner I cleared this test, the better it would be for me. I took the step inside the door without wasting, and I appeared in a similar room as previous. There is again 300 meters of stretch ahead of me and door after that. The difference is that this time, the 300-meter stretch is filled with very dense red liquid. Fuck. I didn't have to translate the text in front of me to know what this test is. I have read about this test in the intel. The Lake of Pain. This is the test of one's endurance of the pain, and that red liquid is a kin acid. As long one's skin touches it, it will give one unimaginable pain. The only saving grace that it doesn't harm the body physically, it's just let one experience very intense pain. If I am not wrong, then one has crossed this lake within an hour. An hour time may seem long, but it is very short. I quickly scanned the floating tests with the honing band and found the test is similar to what the intel had said. I quickly placed the sword in my storage and removed my swirling armor. This dense red liquid is very mystical. No matter what type of artifact one is wearing, it will touch it and will give one immense pain. The intel had a special note attached to it saying there is no use of wearing airtight bodysuit also as this liquid could seep inside that too. After placing the sword inside the storage, I walked toward the pool and soon took a step inside it. Hun! A sound came out of my mouth as I took the step inside the liquid. The pain is immense, but I have experienced the worst. The pain this dense red liquid is giving me is comparable to the pain I've felt when I was using 80% black-red poison, and I've experienced the full assault of the black-red poison in the morning. After sensing this pain is bearable, I entered the pool and started to swim as this is the only option as the pool is a little deep. As I started to swing, the dense red liquid had spread all over my body giving me extreme pain, and top of that, this red liquid is very dense which makes swimming in it very hard. It will be very hard for others to clear the test, including the grim race monsters, but not to me. I have a habit of doing intense physical workout during extreme pain. So, I just have to swim slowly to the other side. While I am doing that, I even started to circulate super combat exercise to distract myself from this extreme pain and to gain few circulations of it. While swimming I tried to activate my physical skill, but as I've expected, there is heavy restriction laid in this hall that no skill could be activated. Time passed by as I swam through the dense liquid while extreme pain, and finally about 9 minutes later, I reached the end of the lake. When I was getting out of the lake, I found that the dense red liquid that stuck on my skin is now magically sliding of it before completely merging back into the lake. I stood in front of the gate but did not enter it as swirling armor was forming on the theme. This gate could very well lead me to the Hall of Altering and the grim monster could be waiting for me there. I want to be ready in the case. In 3 seconds the swirling armor appeared on my body and I took the step inside the gate. The moment I appeared in front of the arena, so there is a third test. Usually, grade 3 palaces of the Ionic Blessings only have 2 tests, but sometimes there are 3 tests also like this one. There is an arena in front of me, no opponent could be seen, but I am sure it will appear on its own when I entered inside it. The door could be seen other side of the arena, but it is dim, it had not activated yet. Only when I defeat the opponents in the arena, only then the door will get activated. Not wanting to waste any time, I entered the arena and next moment I found 3 energy figures materialized in front of me. These energy figures are about 2.5 meters tall and they are heavily covered in the armor, holding huge broadswords. The 3 forms stood still for 3 seconds before they started attacking me at the same time. Seeing their attacks I know their strength is equal to me, a little mistake on my part could make me the heavily injured. Clank! I counter the one sword while dodged the other. A smile had appeared in my face after the clash. Their strength is similar to mine, which means defeating them would be easy as long as I understood their maneuvers. Clank clank clank. I have to say the runic algorithm of these 3 energy figures is quite sophisticated. Any attack I launched they will respond immediately with the best possible response. Their response is even better than those opponents in the guild challenge. That is why it is taking me more time than I thought to defeat them. Still, I am not sad. Their 3 energy figures are one of the most difficult opponents with a similar strength I have faced. If these 3 would have been a little stronger, it would have taken a hell lot of time to defeat these 3 energy. Another problem I am having that any attack I launched on them, it quickly got healed. One time I have even the whole arm of one body, but next second it had completely grown back. So, if I have to defeat these energy bodies then I will have to kill them in a single strike, otherwise, no matter how I tried to injure it, they will become good as normal. Gotcha! 20 minutes after the fight started, I had finally able to pierce the chest of one of the energy figure. Just as I did that, the energy body began to crack apart and break before falling into the ground and disappearing. Gotcha gotcha! After defeating the first energy figure, the pressure on me released a lot and I was able to defeat the other 2 bodies within the 5 minutes. The door on the other side of the arena activated just after the last energy body turned into smoke. Seeing the door is activated I didn't waste any time entering it. Chapter 468 The Pace of Ionic Blessing v. Clank. Poo poo poo. Thank God I was very vigilant when I entered through the door in the Hall of Altars. I was attacked by the leader of the grim race monsters. This tiger man is very strong, just one attack of it was enough to make me vomit the blood. This attack was at its full strength, not only it had summoned its totem spirit but it had also used its occult skill, otherwise simple attack from it would not be able to injure me internally. Hee hee, you would have a chance to be alive if you hadn't interfered in the fight earlier, but now you have no chance to leave this tower alive, said the Tiger Man and attacked me with its metallic claws. Clank. Pooh. I vomited another mouthful of blood. After the clash, if I am not wrong then this Tiger Man is a little stronger than the 4th guild challenger. Clank clank clank. It kept launching the flurry of the attack at me, giving no chance to properly defend myself. Give up. You don't stand a chance against me. If you give up now I promise to give you quick death, said the Tiger Man, stopping from its flurry of attacks. Wiping my bloodied mouth from my sleeve, I looked at the Tiger Man with a smile. Well, it's true, I will not be able to defeat you alone, but with my partner, you won't be able to last more than 5 minutes, I said to Tiger Man and asked Ashlyn to come out. There are no restrictions in the Hall of Altars about summoning one's monsters. Choo-choo. Ashley came out of me and started to chirp at the Tiger Man fiercely. Ha 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 ha. A little bird and one that is at level 5, you want to tell me you will defeat me with the help of this little birdie which I could eat with a single bite, Tiger Man said while laughing loudly. It is laughing so loudly that even tears started to come out of its eyes. Choo-choo. Oh, little birdie is angry at me, I am so scared, said Tiger Man with comic voice seeing Ashlyn turn angry. I shook my head seeing that. This Tiger Man really infuriated Ashlyn. It's going to pay the price of infuriating soon. The Tiger Man about to mock Ashlyn again when it saw Ashlyn summoning Fireball and that Fireball emitting intense fluctuation. Seeing that, it jumped at Ashlyn, but I had already guessed, so I also jumped to intercept it. Fuck off. It said as it bore down its claws at me, wanting to swat me away like a fly. Clank. My sword clashed against its claws and both of us blew back with me faster than it, but it was enough. Ashlyn had more than enough time to make her special fireball, which is only the size of a small pearl. I am not the only one who gained the inspiration from the blood drop. Ashlyn had gained more than me. Whenever she has the time she would always comprehend from the blood drop. The pearl of fire she had sent to the grim monster extremely dangerous, as not only it is made of a very concentrated fire which almost made it semi-solid, it also contains rule of sun fire and killing. Sensing the danger from the pearl, the Tiger Man wanted to avoid it, but the pair was too fast that within a moment it crashed against the grim monster. I thought that pearl would definitely crash against the heart of the Tiger Man, but it somehow saved its heart as it crashed against its shoulder. Ah! As the pearl crashed against the shoulder of the grim race monster, and instead of blasting on the crash, it had silently seeped inside the shoulder of the grim race monster, and the next second very loud scream come out of Tigerman's mouth. Clank. Ah. I wanted to use that moment to launch the sneak attack at the monster, but its senses were really sharp as it had stopped my sword with its claws, but just as it did that, another silvery pearl seeped into its stomach and another painful scream came out of its mouth. Ah. Aha, ah. Ashlyn and I worked seamlessly. Whenever the Tiger Man tried to attack Ashlyn, I would obstruct it, and by that time Ashlyn would launch her silvery pearls. The pain and the injuries that the silver pearl gives made the Tiger Man so infatuated that it went to frenzy, completely losing the reason. In its frenzy, the Tiger Man became really strong as it started to fight instantly. It became really dangerous that I had to use every ounce of my strength to stop it from going after Ashlyn, and midst of that I have received quite a lot injuries. Thud. Finally Ashlyn's silver pearl able to hit the temple of the grim monster, killing it by melting its brain. Ashlyn must have launched about 50 of those fire pearls, each one is aiming at either monster heart or brain, but the monster had always avoided it with the expense of other injuries. If I would be in its place I would have done the same. With the terrifying vitality that grim monster had, as long as any fatal attack didn't injure their hearts and head, they would always be fine. Your fire pearls are way stronger than I thought. I praised. 3 days ago Ashlyn had told me she had developed the new move and it is very powerful, but I did not take it seriously, but now seeing the result, I could tell that the offensive power of the fire pearl is a lot stronger than any of my move. Choo-choo. Ashlyn chirped complacently saying, "Didn't I tell you?" I did not touch the body of Tiger Man, instead sat on the corner and started drinking potions to heal my injuries, as, for others, be as grim race monsters or humans, Ashland's fire pearls are enough to kill them. After drinking potions, I took a good look at the hall. The hall is pure white with 6 altars which are floating center of the hall. Each of the altar is shrouded in the white force field. These 6 altars would only open when only 6 people remain in the other. If there is more than one, have to make that number to 6. I have read that all the fortune in this realm come with ruthless tint, but I did not expect it to experience on my very first day in the realm. Time passed by but no one came, but I am not worried, though the tests are hard. They can be cleared as long one tried enough. 20-something minutes later the gate glowed and the grim race monster came out with high spirit, but when it saw the body of its leader, the expression on its face changed drastically. It had opened its mouth to say something, but before it could, it saw a tiny silvery pearl coming at me at very fast, and it's about to swing its sword to counter that silvery pearl, but it was too late as the silvery pearly already crashed into its head. Thud. Its body fell on the ground with the thud. The last expression on his face before its death was utter fear. Chapter 469, Receiving Ionic Blessing. A few minutes later, after the second grim race monster, the gate glowed again and another person walked in, but this time it is not the grim race monster but Sam. He came quite vigilant with a big shield in front of him, ready to defend against the attack of the grim race monsters, when his eyes fell on the 2 bodies of grim race monsters and me sitting in the corner, and he was shocked. He had expected to come under the attack of 1 or 2 grim race monster just as it entered the Hall of Altars, but he did not expect to the grim race monsters who he expected to face were lying dead, and the new teammate he thought to have similar strength as his, is sitting quite relaxedly in the corner. "Michael, did you kill them?" asked Sam with incredulous expressions. "Do you see anyone else here?" I asked back with a light smile. Hearing that, Sam heaved a sigh of relief. "It's good, now these 2 monsters dead, other 3 would not be a problem," said Sam as he stood front of the 6 gates, ready to deal with any grim race monster that appears from the gate. A few minutes later, the gate glowed again, and this time also a human came out instead of the grim race monster. It is a blonde-haired girl named Liz. She also looked shocked seeing the 2 bodies of grim monsters lying dead, and started to ask a flurry of the question with a very happy face, as she knew with these 2 grim race monsters dead, she is not safe, but she will also able to get the Ionic blessing. The girl was quite shocked when she heard the 2 grim race monsters killed by me, and wanted some more questions when the gate started to glow again. This time, it is the grim race monster that came out. It had just come out when the flurry attacks came at it, giving it no chance to defend. I did not move from my spot to help them, as 2 of them are enough to kill that grim race monsters, and I were right, as both of them killed that grim race monster within 3 minutes. They didn't have a chance to rest much, as next minute the gate glowed again and another grim race monster came out, seeing that they started to drown the grim race monster in their attacks. This one was quite strong, as it took more than 5 minutes to get killed. After the 4th grim race monster died, the gate stayed silent for more than 15 minutes before glowing again, and this time it human, a short girl named Molly. Another 5 minutes later, the gate glowed again and the last grim monster came out, but it wasn't able to live more than half a minute, as attacks from 3 people killed it before giving it any chance to retaliate. "All the grim monsters are dead now. As soon as Carter came, we will be free to receive the blessing," said Liz emotionally as he looked at the altars which are covered in the force field. "Yes," affirmed Sam and Liz as they looked at the 6 doors expectantly, wishing Carter could come as soon as possible. Time passed by, and after full 20 minutes later the gate glowed and Carter came out with a wretched state, with having a huge shield in front of him to defend against any attacks. I did not much care for the Carter, as all my focus on the altars. The force field that has been covering the altar had disappeared just as Carter took the step inside the Hall of Altars. "Ashlyn and I will get the 2 altars," I stated flatly as I walked toward the 2 floating altars. "How can you brazenly take the extra altar? It should be decided through roster whose monster gets the extra blessing," said Carter. Just as he said that, all 3 of them looked at him incredulously, as if he is mad. He had just arrived and didn't get a chance to catch up on what happened, otherwise he would not ask such idiotic question. "You know, if I will kill you, others would not be sad. Instead, these 3 would make a roster to decide whose monster get to receive the blessing," I said without looking back. He was about to say something when he noticed odd look his friends giving him, which made close his opened mouth. I did not care about 4 as I know they have no choice but accept the reality of Ashlyn and me taking the 2 altars. After getting close to the altars, I jumped on it and sat cross-legged. Ashlyn also sat beside the altar beside me. One by one others sat on the altar with Carter sitting on the furthest altar than me. Zing. As all 6 of us sat on the altars started to glow and weird sound ran through the room. The altars started to glow brighter and brighter, and suddenly a searing pain shot through my body. The pain was so immense that I just wanted to open my mouth and scream loudly as I can. This pain is very different from the ones I had felt before. This pain is not only affecting the body but also my soul. If not for my soul being stronger, I would have been screaming my heart out like the 4 beside me. From the intel, I know there will be pain. From what I've read, the Ionic blessing is very high-level energy that not only makes the body stronger but also the soul. This energy is now merging with my body and soul. To get the blessing fully, I have to stay awake. If I fell unconscious during the process, then the transmission of the blessing will also stop, which I did want to happen. Other than me, the only person is not screaming is Ashlyn. There was no change in her little birdie face. She just likes it when she basks in the sun at the balcony of our apartment. I even wondered if she is feeling any pain or not. I would have definitely checked through our link if not for her isolating me. The Ionic blessing started to spread every inch of my body and soul, reinforcing it bit by bit. I could feel that I am getting stronger and stronger every second. The feeling that Seals of the Supreme Combat Exercise and Ionic blessing give is completely different. One gives the cool and refreshing feeling, while one gives feeling searing, which could burn through anything. But despite both of them having contradictory energy, they provide the same energy to reinforce the body and the soul. The energy is seeping in every part of my body and soul, making it firmer and stronger. I could feel the strength coursing through my body and my perception is increasing. To survive this realm I will need strength, and this Ionic blessing will give me an edge enough to fight the lower middle-level powerhouses. Chapter 470 Unexplainable Feeling. Time passed by and soon 20 minutes had passed since we started receiving the Ionic blessing. From the intel, I know that this process will last for half an hour and the last 5 minutes will be the hardest. No one had fainted yet. Everyone is screaming their lungs out, but they kept holding on. Everyone clearly knew that as long as they could hold on for half an hour, they will get a big increase in strength will help them survive in this ruin. 5 minutes passed, and then suddenly the altars, which were shining brightly, have become resplendent that they downed the people that are sitting on them. As the altars became respondents, the intense pain shot through my body. This pain was 10 times stronger than the one I had been feeling before. I had been silent experiencing the pain earlier, but this time I screamed as loud as I can. The pain was really immense, and bearing it I felt like my consciousness is loosening as the pain reached my limit. I tightly gripped my mind tightly, not letting it loose even for a moment. Becoming unconscious means stopping from receiving the blessing, and I don't want that to happen. Didn't want to lose even fraction of the blessing. Seconds passed by excruciatingly, but I can feel myself getting stronger every second. The blessing I received earlier was just the trickle compared to what I am receiving right now. Time passed by as I kept experiencing the excruciating pain. Every second had become long and unbearable that I thought it will never end when I found the resplendent of the altars are lessening, and with it, the pain and the transmission of the energy had also started to lessen till it completely stopped. I look at others, only to find they are in a wretched state. The blood could be seen coming from their eyes, nose, ears, and Carter, who was in the corner altar sprayed, seemed unconscious. Except for Carter, everyone here had received the blessing fully. As for the little bit blood that comes out their body parts, it was nothing, as the injuries they have received through receiving the blessing was already healed by the blessing. Shake. Suddenly tower started to shake slightly, and that exact moment, the altars started to glow again. I did not get worried seeing that, as I know I will be soon transported out. The light became bright and everything in front of me turned dark. When everything cleared I found myself back in the forest. Look, the tower is disappearing. I heard. When I looked I found the tower is disappearing inside the earth. I am not surprised, seeing, when the palaces of fortune completed their trials, they either despair into the earth or crumble apart. It is disappearing means it will again appear out of earth one day to transmit another Ionic blessing. As we were watching the tower disappear into the earth, I heard the footsteps, only to see 6 grim race monsters are coming toward us. Well, these human friends of ours had entered the tower before us, looked like we missed this great chance, said the leading grim monster. A foxman. I exclaimed. The foxmen are simply too rare. I have only encountered once, but it had run away before we could engage in the battle. This foxman is different than the last one. It had snow-white fur instead of dirty yellow as the previous one, and this one is female. Like all the foxmen, this foxman is very, very charming. Mostly all the grim monsters are quite ugly, but there is always exception like this lady foxman. This group of grim monsters also has different tribes of grim monsters in them. Wretched humans, give me whatever you have in the tower and I will give you clean death, said the bulky werewolf behind the foxman. I have no care for these grim monsters behind the foxmen. My eyes are focused on the foxman. Not only this foxman is a lot stronger than the tigerman from before, but it also gives me unexplainable feeling. You dirty werewolf, come at me, see who give who a swift death. I will kill you and your whole group, including this charming fox leader of yours, Sam said loudly as he motioned his sword at the werewolf. Not only he but others also seem excited to fight the group of grim race monster. Chew. Ashlyn chirped scornfully at Sam and others. Even if they could not understand what Ashlyn had said, they could clearly understand the tone in which Ashlyn had chirped. Carter, who had just woke up a minute ago, wanted to say something, but when he looked at me, she closed his mouth wisely. Sam, you are Foxman's match. It wouldn't take a minuet for it to kill all of you, I said just as my swirling armor completely formed on my body. That is when Foxman's gaze fell on me and its expression turned serious. From the beginning, it had not taken me seriously, seeing I am the only one at the master stage while all the others at the captain stage. You other go deal this trash, I will handle the friend with fire armor. Foxman ordered its minions to fight Sam and team while it slowly came toward me. It came at me slowly, but with each step, the feeling of danger kept rising in my heart. I could see it's activating its totem spirit and occult method on the way. When there was just a distance of 5 meters between us, it increased its speed and came at me very swiftly while hacking its thin delicate sword at me. What an amazing speed! I thought as I went toward it the same time it came at me. Clank! Our clashed and I felt the intense force and occult energy crashing into me. Seeing that, I immediately took action and confined both of the energies. Though I was able to confine most of the energies, some of them still were able to seep inside my body, injuring my internals. The blood had come to my throat. If not for me forcefully swallowing it, I would have definitely vomited it. Friend, you are quite strong, said the foxman as it took back its sword. I just smiled at it while feeling quite shocked internally. I had thought even with it being strong, I would be able to endure its attack without injuring myself, but I was so wrong. This grim race monster is definitely very strong. I have to be careful of it. This attack of it is definitely not its strongest one, and another thing is, this foxman feel odd. The unexplainable feeling I got from it was very faint earlier, but now I had exchanged the blows with it. Unexplainable feeling it gave became even stronger. I have fought more than 1,000 grim race monsters, but no grim race monster gave me such unexplainable feeling as this one is giving me right now. This unexplainable feeling is making me not to make any assumption about this foxman, wanting me to fight it with my all. Chapter 471 Underground Abode. Friend, let's see how strong you are, the foxman said as it attacked me, this time its speed swifter than before. The swirls on my body started to spin more faster, giving me the power to counter the attack of the sword. Normally I don't spin the swirls faster than regular speed, but this grim race monster giving me this weird feeling that made me spin the swirls faster for more power. Clank! Our weapons clashed again. Having experienced her attack before, I had quickly confined the energy, not letting even a single bit out. Clank, 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 clank. After the second attack, the monster started to attack me with extremely fast speed, and to counter her attacks, I started to spin the swirls of my armor for more and more power. This would have been extremely dangerous with more than 60% chance of collapsing of the swirling armor, but now that I have received the Ionic blessing, not only my physical prowess had increased but also my soul, which is helping me control the power of the swirls. Still, I do not have the perfect control over them when they are spinning at this speed, but I have no choice. without the swirling, I am no match for this grim race monster in front of me. I have to continue increasing my power if I wanted to keep engaging this grim monster in combat without holding back. A slight mistake on my part could directly send me to the Wonderland. As the fight continues, the swirling armor of mine continues to become compact and compact that it had gained the compactness it had before today. My armor had become a little thick after I had leveled up and tried 12 swirls, but now with me constantly spinning them, they have gained their previous compactness and now it becoming more compact, giving me more power. Clank clank clank. Is it playing with me? I thought as my face had become pale as I started to think about its implications. I had clearly sensed her battle power earlier and I had sensed it is quite stronger than the Tiger Man I had faced, and that is counting the occult method which power I can't sense. Due to the unique nature, some occult methods escape my battle power sense. That is why every grim monster I fight, I consider it has the occult method which most of them have. When I sensed the battle power of the Foxman, I also added the power of occult skill which I can't sense. But the strength that the fox is showing right now is way more than I had calculated, that despite the spinning the swirls on my armor at my highest, I barely able to counter its moves, and that made me wonder if it had deceived me. It had definitely deceived battle power sense that my killing rule gives. It is way stronger than I had estimated, and now I know this Foxman is a lot stronger than me. I have to quickly decide my next plan quickly, otherwise I would be surely sliced into two by that sword. It's whether to run or ask Ashlyn to join the fight. I continued fighting it while thinking, and after some time I made the decision, and that is to run. That is the most viable option. This Foxman is giving me a weird feeling that made me not to ask Ashlyn for help. I feel that I continue keeping Ashlyn as the trump card and only use when I am completely desperate. I started to run away when the Foxman opposite of me stopped suddenly. I have to say, friend, you are quite strong. If I kept fighting to you, you will surely kill me, said the grim monster in its charming voice. What? I could not believe what I had just said. It is this grim monster who was clearly suppressing me, but now it is saying I am suppressing it. I vigilantly looked at it as casually swished its luxurious tail and looked at the battle that is happening on the other side. The battle on the other side going quite well, with both sides fighting with their all, but the one are being suppressed is the grim monster despite having the high numbers. Clap clap. Boys, it's enough, let's go, said the Foxman, hearing its command, and all of the grim monsters started to follow it left and the battlefield soon after. They are running, why don't we chase and kill them, said Carded excitedly, clearly running high on the small victory he had just gained. If you want to die then go follow them, I said, and started to leave. That Foxman and her behavior were too strange. I want to create as much as the distance between us as possible. Michael, Sam said just as I started to walk. I stopped and looked at him. I had pretty much guessed what he wants, but sadly he will be disappointed by my answer. Michael, why don't you come with us? With 5 of us together we will be quite safe in this realm, said Sam. Not interested, I said, and continue walking. Making a team is the best option in this ruin, but Sam and his team are not suitable to make the team. They are simply too weak compared to me. They will be burdened and slow me down. Making team with them will not help me making any progress. To make the progress and find the chances that are the reason I've come to this ruin, and teaming with them did not accomplish any of that. While walking away I have clearly heard Carter cursing me, but I am too lazy to respond to his childish behavior as I have more important things to do, such as finding the best place to make the shelter for the night. The sun will go down completely within half an hour and many nocturnal monsters will come out as the night approached. 10 minutes later I have found a suitable spot to set up the shelter and took out the large black box from my storage. This black box is about half a meter square and is quite heavy. It is the most expensive thing I brought after the honing band. I brought with half the price of original from the friend of my former team leader. Many seniors had taken out the many and used things they wanted to sell, and I and my friends got quite a good deal buying all these things with the help of our former team leader. This black box is Peak Night Great Abode. It is a special one as this one formed an abode underground instead of the above the ground. I activated the black box and it started to drill inside the group without making slight sound or vibration on the ground. It went inside the ground and I heard nothing for near 5 minutes before a small hole opened in the ground soundlessly. That hole is way inside the abode, but before entering the abode, I placed tiny cameras and sensors all around the camp for security before entering my abode underground. Chapter 472 Underground Abode 2. The whole of my abode closed automatically after I entered my abode. This abode is peak night grade and has one of the best defensive powers amongst the night grade abode. The only downside it has is its size. It gives a very small space compared to the other night grade abodes. It can be said to have a similar space as the studio apartment. It has a tiny room that had barely enough space for one bed and a small table, the adjacent kitchen and bathroom also tiny. There is one other room in it which has 1.5 square meter space. It can be used for anything, but seeing how small that space is, one could only use it for meditation. This abode's defensive power is quite good, that it can even resist the attacks of the 5-star elite for more than an hour, so even the strongest being in this ruin would take more than 1 hour to break the defense of this abode. There is no fear of being trapped in this abode. As long as I command it, it will dig the hole for me to exit within 100 square meters of this abode. After entering the abode, the first thing I've done is to take the bath. I have accumulated quite a bit of filth and dried blood on my body. It now time to clean it. After I got out to shower wearing fresh clothes, I started to take out monster meat and cooking ingredient from my storage. I am very lucky that in the whole day, I have come across many monsters, and which gave me quite a choice about today's dinner. I chose one meat of monster and started to make the dinner. While I am making the dinner, Ashlyn stood not far from me watching every movement of mine. Usually, she didn't stay as in kitchen when I make the dinner, but today she seemed very happy as she stood beside me watching me make the dinner. The dinner is finished within an hour and we both ate till our stomach full, especially Ashlyn, who had laid herself on the small table with her eyes closed. Ashlyn, you sleep first, I will wake you up after 6 hours, I said to Ashlyn. Chew. Ashlyn replied and fell asleep withing. 3 times the gravity of this ruin did not seem much, but when experience it for hours, it made one very tired. I am also feeling very tired and wanting to sleep, but did not, as I have to keep the watch. In this realm one could not be more careful. No one can tell when something drastic will happen. That is why keeping the watch is very important. As Ashlyn slept, I kept watching on the tens of screen while studying a skill on my holowatch. Whenever the senses alerted me, I would look up to see what is happening. The night is when the monsters get active the most. In just hour I saw 5 monsters passed above my abode and 1 grim race monster. If any one of them would have noticed my abode, they would have surely attacked it. Finally finished, I said as I closed the window on my holowatch. This is the 3rd skill I have fully studied after the physical skill and skywalking skill. With this speed skillfully studied, my speed will increase even more. It will be very helpful in me running away if I come across any dangerous energy. Looking at the security feed one more time, I get out of bed and walked toward the small meditation room. Entering the meditation room, I have activated the security feed again. No matter where I am, I have to have security feed in front of me, otherwise, I realize anything till danger came knocking on my door. The fire started to appear on my hands and legs, then the swirls forms, and soon they started concentrating fire, making armor more compact. Currently, the swirling armor is 1.5 inches thick, but during the fight earlier, it had reached its previous thickness of 1.3 meters. Now I wanted to reach that thickness and see if I could able to make it even thicker. Before it would not have been possible to do that without gaining enough control, but now with my progress in the soul energy, I will able to do that. I started to spin all 12 swirls faster than the regular speed which they needed to maintain 1.5 inches compactness of the fire armor. The swirls started to spin, and with their spinning, the armor started to get more and more compact. Having better control over one ability is important, but it is equally important to have more soul power to make this swirling armor stronger. As the swirling armor reached 1.4 inches of compactness, I found no irregularity, which made me very happy, but when the compactness of the armor had reached 1.35 inches, it had started to show little disability. Though it is not much, it is still something. As the armor became more compact, the more destabilized it will become. What I expected did happen further. The armor compacted, the more unstable the swirls became. If not me advance in soul power and the few tricks I've learned through my experience with the swirling armor would have definitely collapsed in the puff. With my skill and soul power, I was able to make my armor compact till 1.3 inches and now confident that I could use the swirling armor with compactness. There will be a slight risk doing that, but the power it will provide will definitely worth that risk, and that risk will not for forever. I am confident that in a week or two, I will be proficient enough to use it with 100% confidence. I continued to concentrate my armor further, but the further I got, more unstable the armor would become before finally, armor collapsed when its compactness just reached 1.25 inches. I tried again and again, but I could never able to make my armor more combat than the 1.25 inches. This 1.25 inch had become a chasm that is very hard to cross. I must have tried more than 50 times, but I have never able to take the compactness of my swirling armor below 1.25 inches. I get the feeling that if I am able to go below 1.25 inches, then the power of my swirling armor would increase drastically. After this thought came into my mind, I started to try harder and harder to cross that boundary to see just what kind of power is behind that uncrossable chasm. Ting! I was trying again with my fire armor when I heard the bell from my holowatch. 6 hours are over. I thought that means I have been working on my swirling armor for 4 hours, and in this 4 hours, I must have formed the armor more than 200 times, but never once I had been successful going below 1.25 inches. I did not go below 1.25 inches, but with all these tried, my control over the swirls had increased a little, which made me confident that as long as I gain enough control and soul power, I should be able to cross that chasm. Chapter 473 The Garden. Time passed by, and it has been 8 days since I've entered this ruin, and I have to say these 8 days had been quite uneventful. Except for the first day, I have not come across any chance, and top of that my luck had been going pretty bad, especially for the past 3 days. In these 3 days, I had been chased around a lot. Most of the time they were monsters, but 3 times there were grim monsters. The most dangerous was 2 days ago when the grim race monster chased me. Its power had been quite close to the 2-star elite. Its strength should be equal to the 5th challenger in the guild challenge. If not for me using my swirling armor, using speed skill to the limit, and Ashlyn that had been distracting it with her silvery pearls, and with that last intervention, I would have been surely killed by that grim race monsters. Ashlyn also barely survived that encounter also, when she was distracting that grim race monster with the silvery pearls, when the bird monster came flying from above, wanting to take a bite of a tiny bird. It was a good thing that Ashlyn had sensed that monster and flew on the ground while that big bird's gaze fell on the grim monster and it started to fight it. It was because of that big bird monster interrupting the chase did I able to survive. If that chase had continued, that grim monster would have easily caught up to me and killed me. That chase was really scary. From that moment on I have become even more cautious. I had considerably slowed down my speed and always kept my killing rule activated at highest degree to sense anyone that I have come across. There are many other interesting things that happened as a team of humans had tried to rob and Ashlyn sensing a miracle fruit. I reverse robbed that team of humans who tried to rob me. I had taken most of their stuff and just left them with 1 gear of artifacts and few other things that will need then to survive in this realm. I would not have shown mercy, but that team was pitifully weak and they have no intention to kill me when they tried to rob me. They just wanted to make a quick loot that could increase their chances of survival in the ruin. As for the miracle fruit, we didn't even try for it after sensing there is a terrifying monster lying in waiting beside it. It had probably identified the miracle fruit and waiting for it mature so it could eat it. It is very difficult to identify the miracle fruit. Except for their weird sizes, there are no other ways to identify the miracle fruit, and that is why I surprised seeing a dumb monster is waiting for it mature. I had already marked its location. In the future, if my strength advanced enough to face that monster, I will definitely come for that miracle fruit. Miracle fruits are very rare, and in all the monsters in the world, only one monster has the ability to identify it, and that monster is in the hands on the Adventurer's Paradise, and every Adventure Paradise branch have these monster in them. That is the reason why it is extremely difficult to come across the miracle fruit back in the homeworld, as all the miracle fruit were scourged by that special monster controlled by the Adventurer's Paradise. Only space realms and ruins are the place where that scourge rarely enter, that one could get lucky enough to come across the miracle fruits. All the miracle fruit I ate have come from the space realms. I hope I would get at least 1 miracle fruit in this ruin, and with Ashlyn's ability, I might get one. In these past days, I've interacted with some fellow men and come to know that we have entered the unexplored area of the Ephorian ruin. I was cautiously walking in the forest when I heard extremely faint footsteps. Hearing that, I quickly hid in the closest bushes and covered myself with killing energy to hide even more perfectly. The footsteps grew closer and closer till I could sense the faint silhouette of them and was quite surprised by their number, as this the highest number of people I have seen in a single group. This is the group of humans, and there are about 30 of them, and leading them is a young woman. Seeing them in such a big group, I felt weird and came out from my hiding place. If it had been a small group or lone human, I might have stayed hidden, but after seeing such a big group, I couldn't. This group is too big, and in a place like this ruin, it is not right to have such big group. Instead of offering safety, such big group brought a calamity, as they attract whenever it passed through, and seeing how heavy their footsteps are and how loud they are talking, this group intentionally wanting to attract the attention. "We found another one," said the leader of the group, seeing me come of bushes. "She is a pretty girl, little older than me, who have the battle power similar to the grim monster that had chased me. If I am not wrong, then this girl's strength should be equal to the 5th challenger in the guild challenge." "Are you searching for people?" I asked, hearing what she said when I came out of the bushes. "Yes, we have found the garden," she said. "The garden?" I am shocked hearing this, but soon happiness came over me. The garden is a place where precious plants are planted. These plants may be herbs, precious medicines, or other plants. To make the totem artifact, not only minerals are needed, but many precious plants are needed. The totem artifacts are not the simple as convention artifact. They resided within the body and possess the sliver of the soul of the user. "Why are you searching for the people then?" I asked. It is valid to question if one found the entrance of the garden, one wouldn't share it with anyone despite its being huge. If I had found the entrance of the garden, I would have monopolized it myself till the last day in the realm. The garden contains immense fortune, and each and every plant inside it is precious. So, I had already suspected something is wrong when she said she was searching for people to enter the garden. "Well, the runic restriction of the garden in shambles, and we need as many people as possible to break open the cracked restriction we have found," she said. My heart skipped a beat when I heard that. That means they didn't found the entrance to the garden but the broken restriction that surrounded the garden, and now they needed many people to break the restriction. This made things very, very dangerous. The malfunctioned runic restrictions mean things could go awry at any moment and could kill a shitload of people in an instant. Chapter 474, The Camp. In this on any other ruin, going to the place where the runic restrictions are broken are considered doing half suicide, as those broken restrictions could activate any time and kill a shitload of people. But the places with malfunction also had the great allure, as there is no restriction on how much stuff one can take from it. Like the Palace of Ionic Blessing, if its restriction had been broken and I somehow was able to reach the Hall of Altars, then I wouldn't have been satisfied with one blessing and tried to get hands on other blessings also. I would have to be able to do that since the restriction of that place is broken, but that is the positive note of broken restriction, and their negative note also, that is getting very heavily injured at the minimum and dying at the maximum. Though there is an extreme risk, there are also extreme benefits if decided to go. "Is there anything besides broken restrictions of the garden?" I asked, as I felt like she is still hiding something. She little glared at me when I asked, and some people behind her also came closer to listen. It looks like she didn't tell the complete truth to some people behind her. "We are not the only one, there are grim race monsters also. We have decided to work together till the restriction is broken," she said while giving me an angry voice. "So, that's how it is. It's not surprising though. The runic restrictions of this realm are very resilient, that even if all the beings present in this realm attack together, they won't be able to leave the single scratch on it. It is completely different from malfunctioned runic restrictions. They could be strong as an intact restriction or weak as paper, nothing could be said about them. "So are you coming or not? I still have 16 more people before I could return," said the pretty girl snappily, seeing me thinking deeply. She is very vexed after Michael questions. A lot of people come to know about the grim monsters. Lots people came to her with fear in their faces. It took us a while for her to calm them down. It's all because of this puny master stage. If not for the raging thunder badge on his chest, I wouldn't even have to stop to talk to the puny master stage. Of course, I am coming, I said with a smile while feeling little guilty. Because of me that poor girls had to calm down a lot of people who got scared at the mention of the grim race monster. Let's go then, we still have to find 15 more people before we could go back to the camp, said the pretty girl as we started to move. From others I've found that this girl's name is Angela, she is one of the people who sent to call it people and that they have found the way into the garden 3 days ago but couldn't open the crack with their strength. There's even been a big fight between humans and grim race monsters before they have come to the truce of opening the restriction together. They have had found the opening but it is very difficult to crack it and that is why they searching for lots of people to use the collective power of everyone through the formation. They are searching for thousands of people and already found quite a bit, by the morning they will have enough people to try breaking the runic restrictions. It took our group 3 more hours to find the remaining 15 people and after that, we started to return toward the camp, a place where they have found the broken restriction. It was already evening by the time we had reached the camp. We would have arrived a little early if not for us to run across a small group of monster that started to attack just as they spotted us. Gasp! I gasped loudly as I saw how big the camp is. I couldn't help but gasp. There are rows and rows and abode in the systematic like. There much me thousands of abode there and quite a bit of tree was raised to make the space for the thousands of abodes. But that does not make me gasp in astonishment, what makes us gasp is camp opposite of human camp, the camp of the grim race monsters. Their camp is more than twice as bigger than that of humans and their abode lot more luxurious and bigger than us. One look is enough at their abodes enough to tell that their abodes are many times better than us. The Grim race is a very advanced race, if not for the restriction that our world placed on their powerhouses, even middle-level member of the most weaker tribe would be able to finish everyone in our world if it were able to enter our world. As we reached the entrance of the camp, a red-haired young man around Angela's age came toward us. See. He is at peak level of brigadier stage and when I sensed his battle power, I couldn't help but sucked my breath. This red-haired young man has power equal to the 3-star elite of Grim race. His power is equal to my former team leader and he is also an S-class Guild Black Cloud member like the pretty girl who brought me here. Angela, it's good you are able to find the required number, with them being here we have more than enough number to blast that cracks open, said the red-haired young man as he greeted the pretty girl. You guys set your abodes and rest, we will be attacking that crack in the morning, said the young man as he pointed toward the space in the sky. First I did not say anything but when I concentrated, I got the clear look the white line and around it many types of the ruins were flashing. Whoever spotted that crack must have been sharp-eyed as normally one can't see that crack, especially in the daylight. Entering the camp I activated my abode after I found a suitable space, this time I did not activate the underground abode but my other night-grade abode. It did not have as strong as defensive power as the underground one but it is the best option for the place like camp. The underground abode is only set up when there is no one around if others know its location then it defeated the whole purpose. After setting up the abode artifact, I took a quick bath before going to the center of the camp where the planning for tomorrow is going on. In the center of the camp, I heard many things due to my sharp senses and one of them is that in the camp, there are more than 10 people who have the power of the 3-star elite. Hearing that I heaved a sigh of relief, having more than 10 such powerhouses is enough to give us the fighting chance if the Grim race monsters decided to attack us suddenly. Sometime later, the leaders of the camps called the meeting and told us the strategy of tomorrow. Chapter 475 Breaking and Entering. Ready everyone, charge the runic circle you have been with as much as power possible and don't forget to merge your rule power, that is the crux of it, said the leader. Currently around 5,000 people standing on the huge formation and charging the runic circle they have been standing on. The S-class guilds are really something, all the 5 S-class guilds have provided their champions, those who cleared the 9th guild challenge, with the runic formations which could add up 1,000 people. This formation could also be connected together to make the grand formation and what we standing on is grand formation which was made by the connection of multiple runic formations. We are not the only one who is using the runic formation, the Grim race monsters who are opposite to us were doing the same but the formation they are holding is a lot more sophisticated and compact than us. They didn't have to stand on the big disc as us, they are simply holding a tiny metallic disc which has very complicated formation drawn on it. Currently, I am charging the runic circle with 50% of my power. I would be an idiot to use 100% of my with the grim race monsters are not far away from me. Both of the groups are charging their formation, so they could widen the crack enough that all of us would easily be passed by it. Still, I am a little worried about that crack, thinking our attacks would not be enough to make the crack open wide. Soon the runic circles around started to glow one by one till the whole runic formation started to glow with light. "Be ready, the attack will commence in 10 seconds, said the leader after the whole runic circle had grown. The leader of the grim monster said the same thing as our leader at the same time. Sup sup. The 10 seconds are over and two black-white care came out from the two formations. The white ray is from ours while the black ray was from Grim Race's formation, the black ray obviously more powerful than the white rays released from us. Boom. The black and white rays clashed against the line in the sky and deafening bang rang out. The bang was loud that half of the people covered their ears. Though ear-covered, everyone's gaze on the big hole that is expanding in the sky and from the hole very dense energy is leaking outside, which had instantly made me feel refreshed. It seemed like what they say is really right, that only places that have the densest mana in the ruin are the gardens. The hole kept expanding in the sky and only stopped when it had reached the radius of the 5 meter. I looked at the big hole in the sky that's splinting out the dense mana to the outside. Suddenly the rune started to flash across the circle and it begins to contract, though its speed of contracting still very slow, it still means it is contracting and we have very little time to enter the garden. Enter. Boom. The leader shouted, and that exact moment, the swirling armor on my legs created the wave and I shot out from the ground like a rocket. This is my first time using Power Blast on my legs and I have to say, the speed it gave is incredible as I am slightly behind the leaders of the grim monster and humans. My body pierced through the air as I moved toward the hole. This is the fastest I have ever been. I saw the leaders pass through the hole and also tens of people beside me and thousands are behind me. Zub. I passed through the hole without crashing against any people that are beside me. Just as I passed through the hole, a wave of very dense mana hit me. This wave of mana, this is the densest mana I've ever sensed. The mana density of this ruin is quite good, but it can't compare to the mana inside the garden. Fuck. I said, as I saw I am moving toward the small hill at very fast speed, and if I didn't control my speed, I will be crashing against that hill at very fast speed. The people beside me were all experts at the power of 2-star elite or above, but I am not. I had gained this speed using this special method which I have to never try before, and now I am having very difficulty controlling my speed. I started to use my skywalking skill as a brake, but it was able to slow me down only a little. Finally, seeing no chance while trying to skywalking skill as the brake, I also started to cover myself with the cocoon of fine. With my defensive skill, the armor-type totem artifact I am wearing and the fire cocoon, I hope the protection of 3 of it will save myself from the worse injuries. These were my last thoughts before crashing against the small hill. Bang! I crashed against the small hill and next moment, I could hear snapping sound across my body as several of my bones broke and I vomited a mouthful of blood. Fuck! I cursed as I sensed the extent of my injuries. The crash had been more serious than I expected as it very heavily injured me. I sat up unsteadily and took out the small bottle and drank 1 drop golden brown honey. Just as the golden brown honey entered my mouth, it dissolved and warm energy started to spread through my body. The cracking sound rang across all over my body, but this time my bones were not breaking but healing. They are healing at a very visible speed. 2 minutes later, I am completely healed, but there is no happiness that could be seen in my eyes. Instead there was great anger against myself. I have wasted the drop of daffodil bee's honey. I now only had on 3 drops with me. Daffodil honey is extremely precious. It had buyers but no sellers. It is the same in the Republic and in the grim battlefield. This honey is mystic medicine that could heal the injury of the person above its grade. I would have not drunk the drop of honey and healed using normal potion, but the current condition if the current situation had not been very dangerous. Humans and grim race monsters are very near. Some little as throwing stone could lit up spark and could start the deadly clash, and seeing the numbers between both groups it would be humans that are disadvantages. I got up and look around only to see quite a few people are looking at me with a smile on their faces. Looks like I made the quite big fun of myself as I crashed on the hill. I dusted my dirt-lidden clothes and looked at the who in the sky, which had shrunk more than half, but still many people coming out of every second. Sigh. I sigh looking at the hole in the sky, as only half of the people will be able to enter the garden while other people have given up. 2 minutes later, the hole completely closed and in its place only small crack. As the hole closed, 2 groups look at each other with hostility, ready to fight at any moment. Chapter 476 Sneak Attack. There is no need for hostility, you guys take the left, we will take the right, how does that sound, said our leader, suddenly seeing hostility is at the peak that even tiny provocation could lead to the full-blown conflict. Okay. The Grim Race Monsters leader stood silent for a while before saying okay. Everyone, we are taking left, let's go, said the leader of the monster as he asked all the Grim Race Monsters to move left. You guys go as well, but be careful of Grim Race Monsters, said our leader as he left toward the right. Seeing him leave, others also started to scatter as well. As for the sides picked by the leaders, that was a complete joke. I could see few grim monsters and humans are moving toward each other's side. The garden is a very big space that a few thousand people are nothing to it. If we have given one whole year in the garden, we will most be able to scourge 40% of it at the most. There are 2 objectives after entering the garden. First is collect as much as precious plants as possible, while others are to find the exit of this place. We have entered through the cracked layer of the runic formation, so if we want to exit it, then we will either have to make the hole again to exit, or find the original exit would be akin to finding a needle in the haystack. But no one cared about this problem, as even if they failed to find the exit, the maximum they will have to wait till the time of leaving came. As long as they have their homing band with them, they will be able to return home with the immense fortune worth harvest they got from the garden. Except for a few, everybody had disappeared on the horizon in search of the precious plants. If the restriction had been stable, one wouldn't have to do all these things. There would some tests, and after passing the test one would choose the precious plant. The higher one was able to go into the test, the more precious medicine we'll get, but now the restrictions are completely broken and we have to find the medicine ourselves while being careful of any runic restriction that might pop up at any time. Finding medicine might be a problem for others, but it is not for me. It is a wonderland for me. Ashlyn, she has the innate ability to sense the precious medicine, so the only thing I have to be careful of is runic restriction. If everything went well, then I might become a biggest medicine harvester in the garden, I thought jokingly. Ashlyn, stay on my shoulder and tell me the direction of precious plant you sense telepathically. I said to Ashlyn telepathically as I let her out. If news of Ashlyn's unique ability goes out here, then both us fate would turn worse than death. So it is imperative that Ashlyn behaves like a normal monster and let me do all the work. She just has sat on my shoulder and tell me the direction of precious medicine she is sensing telepathically. Choo-choo. Ashlyn Cairo affirmatively as she appeared on my shoulder. So, where should we go? I asked, and seconds later she told me the general direction. I did not waste time and started moving toward the direction that Ashlyn mentioned, and it is also a good thing that the direction she had mentioned is in the sight of humans. I did not want to enter the sight of the Grim Race Monster the very hour the boundaries are divided. I would like to wait till the afternoon before I enter their side, so by that time, the Grim Monsters should have the time to scatter around. Blood-scent fruits. I said half an hour later as I come across the tree where 3 yellow color fruits were hanging, oozing faint scent of blood. That is why these fruits are named the blood-scent fruits. I picked them off the tree carefully and placed them in the special medical container before storing them in my storage. The blood-red fruit is a very, very precious alchemical ingredient, as its name mentioned in the list of that came from the central continent. There are many lists of things given by the Adventurer's Paradise, but 3 are most precious, and of 3 lists 2 came from the central continent while it is local. There are thousands of things mentioned in each list and each and every ingredient is precious. I am very lucky to have a partner like Ashlyn who can sense such precious ingredients, otherwise, I have been like others, searching every corner of the garden to find the precious plants. Ashlyn, give the priority to this level of ingredient. It didn't matter if they are in the Grim Monster's side. I told Ashlyn telepathically. She affirmed telepathically and started to guide me toward the next plant. The plant we found was not very precious, but it was worth collecting. A few hours passed by such and the afternoon arrived. It has been 5 hours since I and Ashlyn began our search for the precious plants, and we have found the 4 plants that were mentioned in 3 big lists and 13 lesser precious plants. This is such a bountiful harvest, obtaining 4 precious plants that mentioned in 3 big lists. If others were to know that, they will be extremely jealous. Hell, even those who have the power of 3-star elite would also be jealous. I had just collected 12 lesser precious herbs also, and now moving toward the next plant that Ashlyn had sensed. So far, I had been lucky to not come across the plant that is protected in restriction. I plan to avoid those plants if the runic restriction on them were too tight. I don't want to endanger my life just for one precious plant. 3 hours passed again. In these 3 hours Ashlyn helped me find many lesser precious plants, though no plants in the top 3 lists had been found. Well, it's not surprising we have not found the plants in the top 3 lists. If these plants hadn't been extremely rare, then they wouldn't be in the top 3 lists. If it wouldn't for Ashlyn, I wouldn't have found the 4 most precious plants in just a few hours. Choo-choo. Ashlyn chirped excitedly, telling me the precious plant is very near. Hearing her excited chirp, I had become both happy and sad. Happy because I had found another precious plant, and sad because Ashlyn going to take her share from it. She did not like all the plants she found, but whatever she liked, she will take it. Hell, I even have to give her one fruit she likes, which was mentioned in the top 3 list. It was good that there were 4 of these fruits and she only demanded one. Plump violet leaf. I said in astonishment, as this plant is also mentioned in the top 3 lists. I quickly moved towards it, but just as I took the first step, I suddenly sensed life-threatening danger. Getting such intense feeling, I immediately jumped back with my full strength. Chapter 477 Kill. Bang! The place I had been blasted into smithereens, creating a small pit. If I had been hit by that arrow, the least I had been seriously injured, and most I would have died. That's how powerful that arrow was. Scram, little bastard, you have no right to touch such precious plant. I heard, only to see there is the beefy looking aiming the bow at me, and his bow is active. Means he just has to release the string to release the arrow at me. This guy had a beefy body but short height. On top of that, he looked like an idiot, and he is holding a very delicate silver-colored bow. If not for me seething in anger, I would have surely laughed out loud seeing him. I found it first, so it's you who should scram. I said, looking at beefy Archer calmly while holding the sword in my hand as the swirling armor slowly started to form on me. Since there is a distance of about 50 meters between us, I could not sense his battle power or level, but if the earlier attack was any indication, then he should be similar or a little stronger than me. You got some spunk, little bastard. Let's see how many arrows of mine you could dodge before I finally put you down, said the beefy Archer, and released another violet arrow. Sup. Seeing the arrow coming at me, I did not move from my spot. I wanted to clash with it head-on to see how powerful his attack is, so I could get a rough idea of his strength. The arrow was faster than I thought, as it barely took a second to arrive before me. It is infused with rule power and second level at that. Clank. Thud thud. I stuck my sword against the arrow, but just as I did that, I felt immense force and strong wind rule power crashing into my body. If not for me quickly mobile both of my rule power against it, I would have been very injured. Still, using my rule powers was not enough. I had to take several steps back to manage the force. Scared now? But it's too late. I would have let you after giving you a little lesson, but you dare to stand up against me. Roy, for that you will have to pay the price of like, he said, started to launch one arrow after another. Idiot. I said in my mind, this beefy bastard has too much pride and thinks too highly of himself. I am really angry at him. For his earlier transgression I would have let him go by breaking every bone of his body and looting him all, but now he is wanting to kill me. If I didn't kill him, then my name wouldn't be Michael. Seeing his arrows coming at me, I am not worried. Earlier I had to take the step back because my swirling armor hadn't been formed, but now it fully formed with right compactness. With the strength of my swirling armor, I won't have to move an inch to crush all of the arrows he attacked me with. Clank clank clank. I swung my sword at the blurring speed that every arrow that my sword touched would be crushed by it, and within a few seconds, I had crushed all the arrows he sent at me. His face is contorted in anger, and there is a slight surprise in his eyes could also be seen, as he saw me how I crushed all of his arrows. Little bastard, you have some strength, let's see how you could dodge this. An arrow formed in his bow, but this arrow is different, it's a dark violet in color instead of violet arrows he sent at me. Sup sup sup. He started to fire dark violet arrows one after another with stopping, and these arrows speed so fast that they arrived before me just as they released from its bow. Feeling immense threat from the arrows, I used all my power rules, skill, and swirling armor. I used all, as I know even slightest touche of these arrows would inflict very grave injuries on me. Clack clack clack. My sword became a complete blur that only its afterimages could be seen, not its real body, as it started crashing all the arrows that are coming toward. To crush these arrows, not only speed is needed but also the power, as each of these has the power akin to the strike of the warhammer. If there had not been swirling armor protecting my body, especially my hands, then my hands would have been split apart by the single dark violet arrow. Clank clank clank. It did not stop launching the arrows at me. Every arrow his would be a little stronger and swifter than before. This beefy guy may look like an idiot who could launch only simple attacks, but he an extremely smart and cunning guy. I am sure many people would have lost their lives to him by judging him with his idiotic-looking face. Every arrow he launched is aimed at my weakness, and in the ever now and then he would release a weak arrow and strong arrow in the midst of a rain of arrow. From having archer in my team, I knew that this is an advanced archery skill that needs years to practice. I have seen Rachel use, and she sounded very proud when she told us about how it only took her 13 months to learn it. If it were any other facing these arrows instead of me, he would have surely gotten injured by such skillful, but not me. My killing rule helped me measure the power of each more, so I could counter it with perfect force. So even if he changes the power of every arrow, there is not much difference to me, and the longer the better last, the more beneficial it will be for me to win it. In midst of launching arrows, the beefy archer turned and started running. It happened so sudden that I barely had the chance to notice the sudden change that happened to battle. Is he running away? Consider yourself lucky, brat. Next time I see you won't be luck as this to survive, said beefy guy while running away. His speed is so fast that if I didn't power blast then it would be impossible for me to catch up to him, but I can't use power blast. I wasn't able to control it, but I don't worried as he will be dead in a second or two anyway. Just as I said that, beefy archer suddenly activated the shield and halfway through sing to shield his head when all of his moments stopped and he collapsed on the ground. A few seconds later, Ashlyn comes in flying from very high and sat victoriously on the beefy archer's dead body. When beefy guy sneaked attacked me, Ashlyn flew away from my shoulder and waiting for my order. Just as he started to run away, I asked Ashlyn to kill him. Chapter 478 Abnormal Monster. Dead though the head? I said when I looked at the body of the beefy archer. Ashlyn's silver fire pearl directly hit the top of his head, killing him in the single strike by melting his brain. The expression of fear and unwillingness could be clearly seen on his face. If this idiot hadn't been attacked me with the intent to kill, he still would be lying on the ground, just alive with lots of broken bones. Good girl. I praised Ashlyn and started to take out all the precious things he has on his body, including artifacts, storages, and some other things. This bow seemed to be his totem artifact. I thought, as it's still sending the fluctuation out, though it is weakening as the time passed, they are enough to tell that bow was his totem artifact. Fuck. When I sensed the level of bow, I couldn't help but curse. This beefy guy was at the brigadier means the bow was at brigadier grade and medium level at that. It is practically worthless. In the grim battlefield only knight grade artifact worth it. All the artifact I have on me now also are the knight grade. Putting away the bow to sell it later, I started to inspect another artifact he was wearing one by one, and as I had expected, all of them are knight grade 1. Well, this is good, I said happily. All of his artifacts were low level and middle knight grade, but his shoes were unexpectedly at peak knight grade. In the knight grade artifact, the difference between each grade has the difference of the thousands of mana crystal, and that is why the highest grade artifact I brought was at the midnight grade. He must have paid quite a lot of price to get these peak knight grade shoes. No wonder his speed was so fast. I wasted no time to put on my shiny new black shoes and wanted to test their speed, but before that, I had to check his storage. In his storage, there are many things, and including over 10,000 mana crystals. His storage worth a lot more than what I have in my storage if one excludes the plants I've got today, and as for the plants, he only has one lesser precious plant. I put everything in my storage and we moved toward the next plant that Ashlyn is sensing. These shoes are really good, I said. They are so light and their sync with my rule powers is really good, especially Sunfire. When I charged them with the Sunfire, it felt like I've added the rocket fuel in them as it increased my speed tremendously. Usually, I don't name artifact as they are not that impressive. The only artifact I named is my sword. It was the first totem artifact I've ever got and also at the night grade 1, but now seeing the speed enhancements these boots giving me, I decided to name it Feather. This is the name I've decided to give, though the name is simple, it feels very suitable to it. Chew. Suddenly Ashlyn chirped and warned me to stop. What happened? I asked Ashlyn after I stopped and found a place to hide. Chew chew chew. She is saying that there is danger ahead and we should move cautiously. I nodded at her and slowly started to move forward toward the danger that Ashlyn had sensed, and that is the same way Ashlyn had sensed the precious plant. Bang bang bang. As I got closer, I started to hear the sound, and closer I got the louder the sound has become, and soon I got closer enough to see what has happened actually. Bang bang bang, Shar. Monster? There should be no monster in the garden, I thought. The garden is the place where the only plant should exit, but there is clearly a monster, and this monster clearly different from the rest of the monsters in this ruin. This monster is just the mid-level sergeant stage, but its battle power clearly way above me. Ever since I've comprehended the rule power, I have never ever seen any monster to have battle power similar to me, much less stronger than me, but this monster is clearly a stage below, but it has the battle power that is higher than me. This monster is clearly abnormal. As for how monsters appeared in the garden, I didn't have thought much when I thought the way we came. The crack we have found shouldn't be the only crack, there must be several cracks, and these monsters must have entered from some of the big cracks. As for how long they have been here, I can't really tell. They could come days ago or years ago, I really can't tell. Bang bang bang, Shar. This is a black-green colored viper of about 5 to 6 meters long and 1.5 meters in width, which made it look little, and it should be a little longer. This abnormal black-green colored viper is attacking the runic restriction, as inside the restriction, there are 2 beautiful black flowers from which faint black mist could be seen coming. Dark mist flower. I nearly screamed out of my mouth. These black mist is very precious, more precious than the 4 precious plants I have found before. It is so precious that it is mentioned in first 100 in all top 3 lists. No wonder it is desperately attacking it. It is said dark mist flower is very important to the monsters to awaken hidden bloodline in the monsters. Sadly, it's no use to the monster, as Ashlyn's species have no higher stage monster which the bloodline she could awaken, but I still have to get this black mist flower as it will sell at the sky-high price. There are hundreds of cracks have already formed on the restriction that is covering the flower. It will be able to break the restriction fully in a few minutes. Ashlyn, do you think we will be able to defeat this monster if you and I fight this monster together? I asked Ashlyn. Choo choo. Ashlyn chirped affirmatively. I shook my hearing that. This little birdie is always ready for a fight. I once again sensed abnormal black-green viper's battle power and my mood became serious. This viper very stronger than me, and there is very small chance that we could defeat it. If we have to defeat it, then we will have to give our all, otherwise we would get beater by it. Worse, even worse, could also die if we take any of its attack head-ons. The attacking power is showing while attacking the restriction is very frightening, and being a viper, it should have a lethal poison. After making my mind fight, I summoned my swirling armor, and a few minutes later it had completely formed on my body. With that I came out of my hiding spot. Shar. I had just taken 2 steps out of when suddenly abnormal viper stopped attacking the restriction and looked at me, and without warning it came at me with lightning speed with its mouth opened, probably having the intention to swallow me whole in the single bite. Chapter 479 Abnormal Monster I. Shar. This viper is really abnormal, I thought as I saw it coming at me with blurring the speed, even me who have killing rule having a problem seeing its real body. Good girl. I said to Ashlyn as just as the viper halfway into reaching me, Ashlyn attacked it with her silver fire pearls. When I had come out of my hiding place, Ashlyn had also flown up for aerial attacking. Shar shar. It screamed loudly as Ashlyn attacked with her silver fire pearls, but except for it making scream in pain and angry, it doesn't seem to do anything else. Shar. It screamed again loudly and came at me. Its eyes had become vicious and speed is even faster than before. Fuck, it got angry. I thought and readied myself for the big attack. This attack sure going to be very dangerous. Just as it came closer to me, it suddenly stopped on its track and used all of his strength to swipe its tail at me with the frightening momentum. Bang! Its tail crashed against my sword and I was flung into the air like a cannonball with a bloodied mouth. I thought it will be going to attack me with its mouth, but at last moment it had attacked me with its tail. If not for my senses being enhanced, I wouldn't have been able to defend against the attack and survive with few internal injuries and broken bones. Fuck. It's good thing I had diverted the way to the up with help of my swirling armor and shot up in the air, otherwise I would have definitely crashed across one of the trees very hard. Shar shar. The viper is screaming loudly in pain and throwing the jets of poison up in air search for Ashlyn as she too high and could easily dodge the jet of the poison. After drinking potion bottle, I climbed down from the sky. This monster is very powerful and defeating it will be very hard, but I am still willing to try till I expended all of my options. Thud. Landing on the ground, I ran toward the viper. If I had attacked it from the air, it would have easily dodged it, seeing its speed. If my attack would be fast as Ashlyn's fire pearls, then that would have been a different thing. The defense of the monster is too great. Even if I attacked it with all my strength, my sword at most would able to pierce the few inches of it, so it's better if I attacked it weakness like I used to do it in the old times. Shar. Seeing me running toward it, it moved its focus at me and again came at me with blurring speed. This time I am well prepared for any willy thing it will try like last time. This time also it came at me with its mouth opened as it wants to eat me whole, kept coming closer and closer to me till it came close enough that it won't be able to attack with its tail if it wants. Spray. Just when I thought it will take a bite at me, it had released the dark green spray from its mouth. Like last time, the attack this time also was sudden, but this time I was prepared for its willingness, so just I saw green spray releasing from its mouth, I took a jump. Shar. Shar. That exact moment, Ashlyn released the silvery fire pearls straight into the mouth of Viper, who was about to leap in the air to swallow me. Its defense must stronger from outside, but from inside it's much weaker. Just as the three peels touched its mouth, it started to scream loudly. I had already guessed that after I took the jump in the air it will leap at me, and seeing its prowess it can leap quite high, and that is why I had asked Ashlyn to wait for a little and attack when it leaped to eat me. Now the first part is successful, let's if the second part of the plant also became successful as well. Falling down, I slashed my sword toward the head of flailing Viper, to be specifically its eyes. I hope my attacks strike on the right spot. The evening is approaching, and if our fight attracted someone, then this monster, and I will keep fighting while others would swipe the black mist flower that we have been fighting for. Slice. Just when I thought my attack would be successful, the snake suddenly moves its head and my sword, which was about to hit its eye, missed and sliced across part below its eye. Shar. It screamed and leaped at me, but that time I had already used the counterforce of the attack and my swirling armor to take a high jump in the air, and its opened mouth once again fallen prey to Ashlyn's silver fire pearl. It again screamed loudly and looked at me, Ashlyn, viciously, but my gaze on its vicious gaze, but the injury that is healing at a visible rate, which shocked me out of my mind. There is nothing new about injuries healing at a visible rate. Monsters have immense vitality greater than Grim Monster, but the injury I have given it is not a normal injury. In my attack, I've had infused the power of Killing Rule and Sunfire Rule together. Any injury infused with Rule power is very difficult to heal. More difficult is the injury that is caused by the Killing Rule, which makes it especially difficult for energy to heal. This monster is truly abnormal. I will have to study it to know how a Sergeant stage monster could have such strong strength and healing power. The more abnormal it became, the more I want to kill it to know the reason. After that I upped my offensive, trading one blow after another, and as the time passed, Ashlyn and my teamwork kept getting better and better till I didn't have to tell when to attack, she herself able to identify opening and attack. Her attack many times helped me with save me having life-threatening injuries. I have said it before and say it again that this monster is truly abnormal. Not only it has way higher strength and healing power to its level, but it is also very intelligent. Its intelligence compared with a monster of the same grade who is bonded with a human, that is why it's fucking irritating. Every move I make, it will always survive by slip. That is why I decided to use the dumbest method. I had started to use myself as the bait. I kept getting injured by it and make my attacks getting weaker and weaker. In the last few attacks it had launched, it started to become more daring and its vigilance started to loosen a bit. This plan may seem easy, but it is extremely dangerous. A minute ago I had barely survived being swallowed by it. If not for Ashlin's timely intervention, I would have definitely eaten in a single bite by this viper. Chapter 480, The Reason of Abnormality. Bang. Poo poo poo. Again I was attacked by the snake and got injured that several of my bones broke. Just as I stabilized on the ground, I found it is coming at me with blurring speed. This time its eyes seem even more vicious than before. Looks like it has decided to kill me at this attack. I have been waiting for this moment for long. I had taken quite a heavy beating for that monster and kept reducing the power of my attacks to remove its vigilance for me. It hadn't been easy to remove its vigilance against me. I had many times barely survived being killed, but now all my efforts going to be paid. It had completely lost its vigilance against me after seeing I have been barely able to defend against its attacks. It has now decided to use all its power to kill me single strike. I had been waiting for this moment. I will get only a single chance to kill this monster. If I didn't able to kill it, then either it will run away or became very cautious against me. At that time it will be very hard to kill this monster. As it came toward me, Ashlyn kept attacking me as it was normal, and despite bearing the attack Ashlyn's fire pearls, it didn't scream even a bit and kept coming at me. Shar. It opened its mouth wide as it came closer to me. It had learned that it is not always good to keep its mouth opened, otherwise Ashlyn's little pearls will burn the mouth. It came at with its mouth open, and that exact moment, a wave rippled on my swirling armor as I used my most powerful move, the power blast. I shot toward the viper like a rocket. My speed was fast. That viper did not understand what happened. It wanted to run away, but its speed is so great that it couldn't stop its momentum even if it wanted to. Poochie. Bang. My sword pierced through the snake's head completely, and I released the point inferno that I had charged in the sword from the moment my fight with the sword began. I wanted to pierce the sword into the eyes of Viper for more assurance, but it is very hard to control the sword in such speed, but this speed also became very useful, as only with speed and power provided by the power blast will I be able to pierce extremely hard defense of the Viper. Bang! Just as I released the point inferno, the light in its eyes vanished completely, and the next moment my body crashed against the body of a snake. Poo poo poo. I started to vomit a mouthfuls of blood as I tried to get up. I have not come out of this clash unscathed. To kill this viper I had to pay the price. I was already quite injured before clash happened, and after the clash, I have become even more injured. First I had directly crashed against the viper when I pierced my sword into it, and the second time I crashed against the tree with the snake body. Many of my bones broke and my skin split apart in various places. It's good thing I have a good physique, otherwise I would have been at the death door after this clash. I somehow took out a couple of potion bottle and started to drink them one by one. As I drank the potions, a warm feeling started to travel through my body, slowly healing my injury. I laid against the tree and closed my eyes. This clash has completely sapped every bit of energy I have. It was a good thing I am injured. By the time I will heal, my energy should also be replenished as well. Time passed by, and an hour later my injuries are relatively healed. The sky had become completely dark. If not for the killing rule, I would not have able to see anything, as today there are no stars or moon in the sky. Shick. I got up and took out my sword out of Viper's head. The Viper looks completely fine except for the small sword wound on the Viper's head. See. I burned away the Viper's blood on my sword and about start cutting the snake for some fresh meat when I registered the familiar sensation that Viper's burned blood is giving off, and that exact moment I understood the reason for its abnormality. I am such an idiot not to the thought such simple reason. The garden is the reason for the Viper's abnormality. The garden contains the most precious plants of this realms, and seeing its earlier behavior when it was trying to break the runic restrictions that had been surrounding black mist flower. To gain such strength, it should have eaten the immense amount of precious plants, and when I thought about how much precious plants this snake must have eaten, my tongue couldn't help but water. This monster has eaten an immense amount of precious plants in this garden, and now the essence of all their precious plants has now merged in the monster flesh and blood. I wonder what kind of benefit I would receive it if I ate it. I am not the only one who thought this. Ashlyn also sat on the viper head and chirping at me furiously, telling me what I had thought. I wasn't able to hear this as I was too busy with my own thoughts. Don't worry, we will not waste a single drop of this viper, I said as I carefully sized the body of viper before I started to cut it with the extreme precious. Cutting this snake is an extremely tiring task due to its tough defense. I have to use all my energy and will power to cut the pieces of this snake. I had though a huge number of special medicine containers was a mistake, and now I think it was a good thing I did, otherwise where would I have put the monster's meat I am cutting? I am cutting the pieces of viper and putting them into the special halfway container. I was finished with half of the viper when I saw grim race monsters coming toward us. Ashlyn, go finish them off, I said, and continue looking cutting the snake. The group of grim race monsters coming toward me is 1-star elite, and looking at their height and tribe, I think Ashlyn is enough to kill the group whole. I was right, she had finished the whole group under 5 minutes, leaving none of them alive. It took me more than an hour to cut and store the viper pieces into the special medicine box. After cutting and packing the monster, I walked toward the grim race monster and collect their bodies. These grim race monsters worth a lot of mana crystal, and to collect the bodies, I have brought storage artifacts worth thousands of mana crystal. Finally, I walked toward the black mist flower and heaved a sigh of relief seeing that restriction are not self-mending like the hole earlier, otherwise I would have had to use the power blast, which I really don't want to. I donned the swirling armor and started to attack with all my strength, but there was only a small crack was formed. I had to make more than 3 attacks to finally break the restrictions. After placing the black mist flower into special medicine, I started to search for a good place for abode hurriedly. I am in a hurry because I want to eat and see what type of benefit meat of viper which ate lots of precious plants can give me.